Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Talking Mons, our Digimon Ghost Game recap podcast. My name is JD, and of course I'm always joined by my two lovely friends, Jeanette and Gary.
Hello.
And we're going to be talking about episodes 39, Contagion Island, and episode 40, Spiral Beach. We're just going to get right into it. Episode 39, Contagion Island. Doing some more body horror stuff. Actually, I think both of these episodes are kind of, you could classify under body horror kind of stuff.
They're both body horror, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But this one is body horror with spiders.
Yeah,
a lot more creepy.
You know, is it just me, or has there been a lot of spider stuff in this show, or is it just like the one time? I feel like I don't know.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, either I got really hard deja vu with this episode, or there's been more spider stuff than I realized with the show.
There's some spider stuff in Digimon Survive, which I've been playing off and on, and maybe I'm getting confused with that.
I think there's just a lot of spider-esque Digimon that are creepy and scary.
Yeah, I think that's probably. So in this episode, Hiro and Gamamon are visited by this tiny little spider centaur, weird-looking monster thing. He's super tiny, but while he looks like a Digimon called Gyukimon or Gyukimon, I don't know. I think it's rather new because I've never seen this Digimon before. But he claims to be a Ryutamon, who is kind of like this samurai armadillo lizard man thing. But he says that because he was trying so hard to not turn into a Gyukimon, he turned into one because sure.
What is logic? It's Digimon.
Yeah.
It's just how it works.
But basically, Gyukimon, they generally run on basically zombie rules. If they bite you, they will inject a venom into you that will turn you into a Gyukimon, and so on and so forth. So the kids all end up taking a field trip to this island for like nature or some shit. I don't know. But wouldn't you know it, Ryutamon gets out, and that Gyukimon temper just comes over him, and he bites somebody, and
Done.
what do you know? Next thing you know, all the kids are turning into monsters.
At least they're confined on an island.
Yeah.
They're on a field trip.
Yeah, they're on a field trip. I swear, these kids like do all this traveling for school.
It's a trip from hell, basically. Just kind of.
Yeah.
It starts off okay, and then next thing you know, everyone is a spider monster.
Yeah, and it's like they're not like even full like spider monsters. They're like weird halfway in betweens, and they're terrifying. Like Hero's friends are like one of the first ones to get turned, and they just start attacking people, and it's
It's kind of funny.
Oh,
it's
go ahead.
Because sorry, I'm so sorry, but we had the zombie episode, and then we had the spider episode, and now we have a zombie spider episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this episode is a little too close to the zombie episode. Like, if it's a few more weeks, like, separated, I think I wouldn't mind it that much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what did you guys think about this one on a whole?
Well,
go ahead, Jay.
go ahead. You go first.
I honestly, I enjoyed it. I thought it was actually interesting. I thought it was kind of scary. I liked it. It doesn't do anything for the plot. Most of these episodes don't, and it doesn't really change the status quo at all, but it was fun. I like how they came about solving everything, and I think that could come into play later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it, but I feel like... Okay, you guys have to remind me, have we met Ryutamon before?
I want to say no. I think he's new to this episode.
Yeah,
if anything, he might have showed up like in the background of an episode a couple episodes back, but I don't think we've met him proper yet.
Yeah, I feel like that doesn't help with this episode. Yeah, sure, Hero will always help someone, but I feel like to us, the audience, it would have been a little better if it's a Digimon that we already met
who
is having this problem.
Yeah.
Because it's like, we kind of feel sad for it's turning into this other Digimon, and it's biting and it's terrifying, but there's less emotional connection from us, the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing that I kind of feel like it's a little weird that they just have a line off that people just kind of just accept is that apparently Digimon can alter memories of
Yep,
human.
they sure can.
So after everything is resolved, the two human who got bitten, who was like halfway turning into a spider, turned back into human. They had their memory wipe.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
pull a Fairly Odd Parents ending where everything's back to normal and nobody remembers anything.
Listen, there's just some things that people shouldn't be expected to remember.
It shouldn't, but still, it's just kind of weird that like certain Digimon have the abilities to just completely like
It's very much
rewrite.
It's very much an ass pull.
Yeah.
I mean, Bakuman, like I feel like Bakuman has like dream powers or something. So like I can maybe see why he might have memory wipe powers, but yeah, it still seems kind of convenient. But yeah, I think like the biggest revelation from this episode is like we kind of get to see more of what the Digivice can do. Because we find out that these Digivices they're wearing on the wrists are actually can basically purify Digimon, which is how they end up being able to like reach the
Yeah.
right. Yeah, they're able to like use the Digivice to reach the small sliver of Ryudomon that's still in this monster so that he can be restored to his proper form.
I wouldn't say purified. I would say it's in a computer term, it's like returning to a safe state, a backup.
Yeah.
Because it's more of like trying to remember what their form used to be, not like purging out the current like issue.
Right. But yeah, it's some kind of like weird like I don't know. It's very strange how this power works, and like Jeanette said, yeah, I definitely see this being more of a thing going forward. But I do think it's at least interesting because we're giving the Digivice itself like a little more power and maybe some lore if we kind of further explore what its full powers are.
Yeah, like with most other show, I feel like we just kind of fire and forget about the Digivice.
I mean, I feel like the only so I feel like in the second season, yeah, they didn't do too much. Now I'm thinking about it. I like they kind of did in third season for a while when they were doing the card swipes, but I feel like they kind of dropped that after a while.
I feel like they just kind of skipped that scenes because we all seen it by then. But
Yeah.
it's not. It's kind of part of the gimmick, along with needing it for evolution. It's just that they never really dealt with it in the lore or story wise. Just kind of hand wavy.
Yeah, and I mean, I like how they've been showing that this Digivice that all the kids have, is just more than like a tool for evolution, but like we have they all have the ability to like put up a safe zone to fight in, so they're not wrecking up the real world. And now we have this new power that they have. So I like that they're actually like making the Digivice actually more important by giving it more things to do. But yeah, the zombie stuff, or I keep calling it's basically zombies. It's spider zombies. That like it was kind of creepy, especially with the transformation sequences. Those are kind of creepy. But yeah, it's kind of treading on some similar ground as other episodes, so it didn't like hit as well. But there's some good parts of it, and we're getting a little more like maybe some background information, but that's kind of we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, there's this opposite effect as a zombie episode because the zombie episode. Go ahead, Jeanette.
I think things are slowly starting to pick up, especially with the direction things end at the episode 40, I want to say. So either I don't know if they're going to go back to the status quo, if they're going to start like finally moving the plot forward, just slowly cranking it up over the next few episodes, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. This episode have more terrifying transformation, while the zombie episode have a more terrifying origin of that pit of like consumption.
Right.
Because that is more that was more terrifying than the zombie. And here, these spider creatures more terrifying than the actual spider Digimon.
Right.
Like the act of transformation is more terrifying.
Jeremy Snow here, owner and editor-in-chief of The Geekly Grind. I'm interrupting your awesome, regularly scheduled programming to ensure that you know about our Geekly Grind podcast network, of which this show is a treasured member of. If you haven't had a chance to check out our site, you can do so at www.thegeeklygrind.com, and while you're there, check out the other members of our steadily growing podcast family, including the anime-centric Blake and Spencer Get Jumped, discovering new heroes and comic book keepers with Chris and Lance, exploring the vast universe of geekdom with Geek Exploration, or of course appreciating animation's finer details with the Ink and Paint Club. Escape your weekly grind at the Geekly Grind.
Okay, so that will bring us into episode 40, Spiral Beach. Also, basically, the episode where we pull Junji Ito.
Oh my God,
this is Digimon's take on Uzumaki, everybody.
I believe it.
Yeah, I didn't make the connection until now, but I can totally see it.
Yeah, so basically, they go, like, Hiro goes to this town, and things are just randomly starting to spiral, like street signs and like things that shouldn't be able to, stone pillars and just like everything, and to some point living creatures start getting bent and swirled around. So the Hiro is here trying to figure out like what's going on, but at the same time, he and Gamamon are kind of having a little bit of a spat, because Gamamon,
Ate his homework.
He ate his homework basically, and he didn't fess up to it because Hiro's like, okay, what did we say about the rules about like not eating my tablet? And Gamamon doesn't want to fess up to, him doing it. So Gamamon kind of spends the whole episode pouting, so much to the fact that he just finds a random child and like, hey, I'm going to go hang out with this kid. And Hiro's like, all right.
He's my new partner now. Or she.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. She has a big fluffy dog and I love him.
I do too.
And it made me sad. It was not sad exactly, but it was kind of sweet. How Gamamon learns his lesson in this, where the dog apparently had like eaten something of the little girl's, and he's like trying to get up on her. Obviously, like he feels bad about it. Is like that's its way of apologizing, and that kind of like tells Gamamon that like, just because you guys have a fight or whatever doesn't mean you're not like still friends or anything, and you could just apologize and everything's fine.
Gamamon is absolutely adorable pouting.
Yeah.
And I love how Hiro was just initially, when Gamamon wouldn't fess up, he tricked him by saying he's going to give him chocolate, and as Gamamon opened his mouth, he stuck the tablet back in and do it. Match up the teeth, and that was the funniest point in like several episodes. Like I laughed way too much at that.
Yeah, that was a pretty good bit.
I mean, if someone got me that good, I'd be mad too. I kind
of this episode, I remember last time we recorded, I was like postulating like, I bet Espimon's gonna come back. Guess who came back this episode?
With a bendy arm. He was the one who
Espimon comes back, and he's got a curly arm now, and that's what gets Hiro and Gamamon to go check out this town. And then it turns out, man, this season is really pulling out the season 4 monsters, because Calamaramon, another one of the beast hybrids from Frontier, ends up being the bad monster of this, who is the reason is so stupid. Like Calamaramon is just like, I'm making everything into spirals because it's beautiful, and spirals are the most beautiful shape, and that's their excuse for contorting inanimate and animate objects.
Inanimate objects.
Well, later on, there are like pigeons, and then cats, and then people.
Yeah, the little girl that Gamamon's hanging out with, like, she just wakes up one day and like her entire body is like a slinky.
Well, originally it's just the end of her hair, along with her mom's.
Yeah, and
then
they just
like,
didn't think too much about it.
Yeah. And interestingly, when Hero like transported to parallel realm.
Yeah, they're like kind of battle realm or whatever that they can make.
None of the animals affected or the people got separated. They remain in the parallel realm.
Yeah, I think they explained it like everything that had been affected by the spirals got brought in as well.
Yeah, similarly to the zombies in the zombie episode.
Yeah. So now we're seeing that like, it's not just them and the monster they're fighting that can be brought into this world. It's anybody who's been affected by the monster or the bad guy of the episode can get pulled in too. So that's kind of an interesting development, and I wonder if they'll do more with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so how are you feeling about this one, guys?
Good night. You go first.
I kind of appreciate being a Junji Ito pretty much shout out. I have to appreciate that.
It's the little things that I like. It's like I feel like this is the first episode that we saw that didn't really delve with like mythology in a traditional sense. This feels like a cryptic, like modern cryptid episode. Mm-hmm. Stuff that you see in like the SCP Foundation.
I think it was really interesting. And like I like the little thing in that like Jellymon just finds a jar that fits her and just hangs out in it.
Oh my god, that was adorable.
Really cute.
He's like, I fit exactly. This is amazing.
If I fit, I sit.
Pretty much.
Fits, I sit, Jellymon version.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, she got caught in the spiral wave.
Yeah. But
I hope that we will see more modern cryptic-esque episode in the future, because it's nice to see like stuff dealing with like folklore and mythology and such. But it's nice to have a modern take in like very contemporary urban legend and spooky stuff.
Yeah, for sure. No, I don't know if they were inspired by Junji Ito on this one. If they were, I wouldn't be surprised. But no, it definitely feels like just a little more off than their normal kind of like monster of the week kind of thing. I just wish that the ending and like the explanation for what was going on was a lot better, because I think the explanation is super dumb.
Yeah, I thought it was really weak. Like I thought the solution was really weak too.
Yeah, like, the solution too. Like she saw the straight line from the attacks, and it's beautiful too. It's like, oh my god!
It ends with another one episode of the monster is going to wander off and go see the world, and Hero just yells after her, "Stop! Don't do that thing again!" And they're like, "Okay," and everyone just goes on their merry way. But yeah, I mean, I think like just the aesthetic and the mystery of this is great, but yeah, like I keep saying, like it doesn't follow through the way I would have liked it to. But I did at least enjoy kind of the interesting visuals of this one.
I feel like it could have actually benefited from being 2 episodes.
Yeah, if the explanation for what was going on was better, I could see that.
Well, I mean, if they'd come up with, I think if they had time to develop an actual like conflict resolution instead of like slapping it together. Like I think it could have built. Go ahead.
No, go. You finish up. Sorry.
I think it could have built nicely into being 2 episodes.
Yeah, I feel like, are there like any spring-shaped Digimon, like a slinky Digimon?
Well, that's what I spent this entire episode thinking Shorimon, like Hawkmon's evolution, like the samurai that has like the springy arms. I thought it was going to be Shorimon behind this the whole time, and it turns out it's Calamarimon, and I'm like, I guess?
Because Calamarimon, her aesthetic and design just doesn't fit the springy spiralness.
Well, I think it's like one of her attacks is like her spinning around. So
yeah,
I
but
guess
it's just spinning around. It's not, if she makes stuff spins, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like if stuff like uncontrollably spin for some reason, like a street sign just keeps spinning and spinning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. But it's not a spring or spiral.
Yeah, like, it doesn't really make sense.
Make up a new Digimon. Give us a Slunkymon or something.
Hell yeah. Let's get that going. But yeah, so interesting concept, not so great conclusion, but you know, it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah.
At least Gamamon and Hero made up.
That's
really
true.
cool.
Oh, yeah.
Their reunion is very sweet, where Gabumon just like starts screaming his apology at him while crying.
He has learned that now you must apologize when you're wrong or when you eat things.
Yeah. And Hero is just like totally cool with it. He's like, yeah, that's fine, man. Like, I just admit that you did something wrong. It's like, I'm not mad at you. I just want you to like be more considerate and know to apologize when you did something.
Also, we will definitely see more of Espimon.
Yep. And dude, I'm starting to get tired of Estimon shit. I fucking love I love and hate the explanation. Because Estimon keeps coming to Hero saying that he's trying to find Hero, but Hero's like, but I'm Hero, and Espimon's like, no, you're not. You don't look anything like him. And apparently the reason he thinks that is because Espimon knows Hero's dad, and his dad saying that Hero is like the spitting image of him, and he took that like literally. So he's like, you don't look exactly like your dad, so you're not Hero. And yeah, that's just like his explanation for why he's being a dick.
At least that makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense, but it still makes sense.
I mean, it's a kind of funny joke, and I hope that they like resolve that soon. Like, I hope
Yes.
it's not like a recurring joke, because it seems like SB might have some like information to move this plot along, but because he doesn't think he's actually met Hero yet, he won't divulge it. So I'm hoping. Yeah.
There is the end of the episode where he's sitting in Hero's room, so maybe he'll believe now.
Yeah, maybe the next episode he's like, okay, I do believe you're Hero. Here's what's actually going on, and that would be cool. I would enjoy that. All right, well, I think that'll wrap us up for this week. Appreciate everybody listening. Some weird body horror stuff this week, but I think that's the next episode is about clowns. So if you find those scary,
That could be even worse.
yeah. Well, we're just gonna have to see how this clownishness shapes up. So we'll talk about that on the next episode. But until then, everybody, stay safe, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.